Welcome back to the channel. We're at the Tokyo Expressway East Inner Loop in a low ranked lobby, DE. The last race we did, the last episode, really took me down quite a lot, so I'm trying to work my way back up. Starting off the race in the Porsche RSR, behind the Ford GT, and some other cars up front, looks like a Beetle maybe. I'm at a disadvantage right away in this race in the Porsche. It's not the fastest car around this track because of the insanely long straightaway. Coming into the first corner, old man comes in front of me and I tap him all the way across the track. He comes from the inside to out and I get a 2-second penalty. Right off the bat, first corner, so we're off to a great start, and I drop down a position. Coming into a more twisty section, this is where the Porsche really works, but not yet, obviously, because I get punted into the wall and add another second onto my penalty. These lower ranked lobbies are just awesome to be in. You know, a lot of great racers, a lot of quality racing and respect involved in these races. As you can see, I'm catching right up in these corners. The old man right there must have died. He turned into a ghost for a second. That's too bad. And then he must have known that he turned into a ghost, got upset, and then slammed me into the wall. Luckily it didn't add any more to my penalty. And he didn't get one either, which is strange. Punting people into the wall usually results in that situation. But I serve the penalty and drop all the way back down into 10th place behind SSA Caesar, and everybody in front seems to go into the wall and I'm able to catch up, which is a good thing. I'm able to stay in the slipstream on the big straight right here. If I would have been just a little bit slower there, I probably would have not been able to catch up with this pack, being in a slower car. SSA Caesar, Modern Warfare 2, I believe that stands for. Going to the outside of him here on the track. And then he starts to get a bit aggressive, and it looks like he wants to send me into the pits, but, you know, I just didn't need tires. You know, it's only a 4-lap race, Mr. SSA Caesar. Maybe you need new tires. Maybe a new attitude. How about an attitude check? He has a 1-second penalty from hitting the wall, I think, back there on that corner. Coming into the corner, he turns into a ghost and goes right through G Tibbets. Then I come around the corner, get a little bit wide, a little bit shook up, and then he bumps into me, and I hit the wall. And he's just affecting everybody at this point. Me, mostly. And then look who comes up into 10th, explodes on the wall and gets himself a penalty of 1.5 seconds. Mr. Necrophilia 33. I can't have that. I can't have necrophilia beating me. That's just not a good policy. I won't let that bad habit beat me. Coming into the twisty section where the Porsche actually excels, and it looks like these two are going for the highest score for penalties. Looks like it's actually a competition between the two of them to see who can do worse. I'll serve my penalty of 1.5 seconds and leave those two in the dust and try to catch up to 9th and 8th position, who look like they're in the wall and touching each other. So I should be able to catch up a little bit here. Unfortunately, they are in the two fastest cars for this track, the McLaren F1 and the Ford GT, so they walk away and I skip forward a little farther into the race, lap 3, into the tricky section or the twisty bit where the Porsche is good, and I slow down because I don't want to touch anybody anymore. I don't want any more contact if I can avoid it at all costs, so I'm braking too much, but I am able to keep up and keep in the toe of the fast cars, which is good. That's a good move if you can do it. Somebody's serving the penalty. I slide up into 9th place from 10th. We have a group of, it looks like 5 cars in front of me. The McLaren F1 goes off and hits the wall a little bit, so I'm able to secure 8th place. Now I'm behind all of these cars. We skip ahead. I wasn't able to keep the tow, and the McLaren was able to make it back past me. That's just how much faster these cars are at top speed than the Porsche. I'm able to catch the toe of the McLaren though and keep up so I don't fall too far behind. And that's a good thing coming out of the long straight. Now I'm going to be able to be much better around this track than these cars in this section. I tap the Lamborghini and I give him a little bit of space as much as I can without hitting him again. I let him go past because I'm a nice guy. Genuinely. I can't imagine the Lamborghini's easy to race around this track. That's a tough car in the first place. And he goes a little bit wide, hits the wall, and I get afraid that he might run into me and I hit the wall. This race is basically don't hit the walls, even though you're gonna, and don't hit people. See, the corners here, I can really catch up to these guys because they just can't take them at the same speed. I'm keeping off the back of him, and it looks like, oh, everything kicks off. The McLaren decides he doesn't want to race anymore, but he would like to spin, and then I get rammed in the rear. Get rammed in the rear by Necrophilia. Unfortunately for him, I'm still quite alive, so he won't be able to get his jollies off ramming me from behind. I pass everybody that needed to serve their penalties, which brings me up into 5th position on the final lap, final straight. The gap was opened up behind me to over 2 seconds, and I was able to stay in 5th until the end of the race. I only lost 1 position. Started in 4th, ended in 5th. Not too bad for the amount of insanity that happened in that race. The next race, much better, except for I'm with similar people of racing etiquette, I suppose you would say. I have the pole position in the race, but that's not going to help me too much because I'm in the slowest car on the track, I think. So right off the bat, the gap behind me is closing. Started at like half a second, we're already down to 1.5 tenths, 1/10, and the Ferrari passes me. I am now in 2nd. Within 20 seconds of the beginning of the race, I fall into 2nd place. I come up the inside of the first corner, with the Ferrari on the outside, get nudged from behind, a little wide, and the Ferrari, I hope, didn't hit the wall there. I didn't mean to push him. And it looks like our friend Necrophilia is right behind in the Viper, along with the Ferrari. Coming into the first corner, I misjudge it and get rammed from behind into the wall by Necrophilia. His name is quite fitting, except for he's in the wrong place, because I assume everybody in this race is alive. As of yet, anyway. Coming into the twisty section where the Porsche does the best. Viper up front, all over the place it looks like. Catching right up, now I'm right on the backside of Necrophilia. I'm overtaking the bad habit. He's still all over the place. I'm not sure if I'm able to pass him here or not without having an issue. So I back off, coming into these tighter corners, trying not to touch people if I can help it. I'm trying to get my ratings up. I'm a much better racer, I feel like, than DE would suggest. But it's hard to get out of these lower level lobbies. You just kind of get sucked in and you get stuck because you can't help but get hit by people or accidentally hit people if they're braking too early or taking the wrong line. I try to go to the outside of the Viper here to go for the pass, but as you can see, the Porsche is just too slow and the Viper is able to pull right back ahead in the drag race between the 911 and the Viper. Braking a little bit earlier than him into this corner, trying not to run into the back of him in case he brakes way too hard. Made a little bit of contact in the corner, but nothing crazy. I fall back a couple tenths. I'm still within the slipstream, but I am coming into the section where the Porsche excels. Now there's nobody behind me to screw me up or tap me into the wall, so I go around these corners just fine. Finally getting a good line through here. Maybe a little bit slow. I could have definitely gone a little faster through that one. But it's better to be safe than sorry. In this circumstance, no penalties is preferred. Coming into the worst corner of the track here, the most difficult. Judging the speed to go through there is pretty hard. If you're not confident, you're probably going to hit the wall. Now I'm trying to come up the inside here of Necrophilia. That's funny to hear. I make it past him. We bounce off of each other a little bit, but neither of us get a penalty, it looks like. Coming into the tight corners before the long straight, I hit the gas a little too much. I got a little too excited and hit the wall, but it wasn't enough for the Viper behind to pass me. So now I have first place again. I have secured first place. Coming across the finish line, however, Necrophilia passes me back up. The Viper is just faster than the Porsche. I really am at a disadvantage in this car as far as the long straight goes, which takes up one whole half of the racetrack, one whole half of the circuit. Braking at the 150 board, coming into the corner, I take the inside. I had the option. He went a little bit wide, and then he must have gotten a little squirrely because he falls right off behind me. Coming into the twisty section here where I can actually walk away, and the end of the race happens because there was no more excitement after that. So, I got the victory, the second race. Pole position and a victory. Pretty excited about that, but it's going to take a lot more work for my ranking to go up. So, be sure to come back. Be sure to subscribe. There's going to be more races, more grinding, hopefully less necrophilia. So, subscribe, like, comment, tell me what I can do to go faster. I appreciate y'all. See you on the next one.